Mm.
Oh, Morgan. This is becoming a trend, and I don't know if I should get excited
I'm
that
excited.
I see you every Friday,
Yep,
and
we
I
got
believe
every
it's a
Friday.
Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday.
What the heck?
What have you been doing, man? These are all your things. You keep on scheduling new ones through the week.
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Morgan,
Okay.
but there was this incredible gentleman
Mhm.
by the name of David Dember that reached out that wanted to do a collab.
Mm.
And when David Dember asks to go and do a collab,
You say yes.
you say yes.
You
And
say yes.
so, with that said, I think we got to bring on David.
Let's bring them on. Hello,
Hey, David.
David.
What's going on, fellas? What's
Hey,
going
man.
on? So happy to be here.
How are
Fresh
you?
off the conference, got to move in. Like, if that's
Yeah.
not beast mode, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, and we're and we're gonna dive into that. But yeah, let me tell you this. Let me start off by saying these last few months have been absolutely bananas and insane. And what do I mean by that? I have jumped from hotel to hotel to hotel to another hotel, then to a hotel outside the city, back to the city in Orlando. And then now I'm in the Airbnb, which then I will be in a new home in July 1st. So
Yeah.
I've been living out of a suitcase.
Man,
With
that's
a new job.
insane.
With a brand new job. So
Mhm.
like learning from a fire hose, learning from the master David Delaney at 10 Bound, starting a new community at 10 Bound Plus, really being the glue and tissue of 10 Bound, like so much. But I love this stuff. This stuff pumps me up. You know what I
Heck
mean?
yeah,
Like
man.
I think one of the things that Kobe Bryant said was he always looked for the things that were challenging, where he thought in his mind, I want the things that I don't know if I can do it. If you feel like, oh, yo, I got this, like no problem, those aren't the things you want. Like I wanted something when David Delaney put all this stuff in front of me. I at first I'm like, I don't know, but I wanted that because that's what fired me up. Those are the things that really you want, right? So
Mhm.
anyway, that's a little tidbit of what I've been going through for the last little bit. But I'm so happy to be here, Nicholas and Morgan. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, David.
Psyched. Yeah.
Just before we dive in and we carry on with that energy and hop, skip, and jump from another hotel into another conference, is Morgan. We're in the
Yes.
first 3 minutes, barely.
Yes.
What is the question of the day?
All right. For everyone new around here, we do a question of the day to kick stuff off. Nothing related to the topic, just to have a little fun. So if you're in chat, we want your answers. Drop them in chat. The question of today is, in your first 30 minutes of your day, what do you do? It's kind of related to today, but like, are you a roll out of bed, right to work kind of person? I did that for like 2 years. Or do you roll out of bed? Do you have like a nice morning? Do you have some coffee? Do you read the newspaper? Do newspapers even exist? Maybe you're on your phone scrolling somewhere. Like, what do you do to kick off your day? What's the thing that you're doing that really um, that sets the tone for your day, if you have that? And if you don't, no big deal. What do? Do you just roll out of bed and start clickety clacking on the computer? I don't know. Nick, what do you do?
I have a question. It's not the question of the day, but
Oh, okay.
I kind of secretly wonder when we do the cue of the day,
Mm.
do you just come up with it on the fly, or do you have it ready when we start?
No, I usually just come up on it on the fly. Yeah.
Valid.
Uh-huh.
What
I
do I
see.
do? I think it's actually really important the first 30 minutes to have a routine.
Mm.
And I also think that you should have a routine to stop work too, because as sellers, we're basically like franchise owners, and like it never really starts and stops unless we put a start and stop to it. And so instead of wasting a whole bunch of time running around like a chicken with your head cut off, just have a regular routine. Whether it's I love reading in the morning and writing.
Mm.
There's something about reading a little bit and then just writing. I am horrible at writing, but it gets my ideas, it clarifies them so I don't sound silly when I do these. Just kidding, I still do. David, how about yourself?
Yeah, before I get into myself, like kind of going through some of the, thank you so much for everyone that's like really chiming in here. Austin, Greg, Kelsey, hello from Missouri. Gotta love Orlando. Ashley, much love, shout out. Definitely folks reading books. Let's see here. Pick up the house and have a little espresso. I mean, that's epic. Like, are you drinking like a shot? Are you taking 16 shots? Are you dumping it on your head? I'm not quite sure, but like, I dig it. I dig it. Like, having that routine is so important. Andreas, welcome. Hey, routines are so powerful. 100% agree. And we're going to dig into that. Greg, thank you for some of the comments. Keep the comments rolling. Austin, what's up? Love all this stuff. But to answer your question, having your routine is gold. Let me say that again. Having your routine is gold. And so when I wake up, I hit the gym. I get those endorphins kicking, right? So the neurotransmitters in the brain, if you're feeling either anxious or depressed or, fearful, that really helps. It really helps those transmitters fire in the right way to get your day going, right? I then feed the kids, make sure they're good. I watch a little SpongeBob with my daughter, talk to her, play a little game. I'll tickle her and make her say different names, like almost like when we were kids. What was it? Where you said uncle. So basically I'll tickle her and say, your name is Marsha. And then I'll just keep tickling her and she tries to say other names and she won't say it until she ends up saying it. Then I'll stop tickling her. But anyway, I'll play some games with my daughter Peyton, and then Mason, talk with him about his day, what he has scheduled, really starting to build that framework for my children, right? Like really what that means to work hard and to have a routine. So then I sit down, I process and channel all of these things in my mind where I sit down, I listen to Dr. Eric Thomas, right? His message is so strong. And, personally, I can really identify with some of this pain he's went throughout his life. I have a very, my past is pretty dark, came through and overcame, I'm a trauma survivor. And obviously that could be something talk about later down the line, but really identified with his pain. So people may not like him because his energy is super hot and like, will just kind of like, whoa, could kind of blow you away. But I find that one YouTube in the morning that really resonates. And then that allows me to find my beast mode to pump up my day. So that's awesome. Just kind of like having a little routine there.
That's great. I saw the favorite one I saw. Austin's is so funny. Get up, weigh myself, make excuses about why I shouldn't go to the gym, drink pre-workout, sigh deeply, and then work out anyway. My man, that is a way to get the day started.
Hey man, hey yo, if that's the way, like we all have our way, right? Mm-hmm. I back into my lifestyle. Like I have done a vision board every single year, and I put the things on there. Right? Put the private plane. This is for me. Like, so no judgment. If folks are 9 to 5, no judgment. This is for the life that I want. The private plane. I want that. Be able to jump on a plane at a random time where I'm chilling with the kids on the couch. We're like, what do we do? Like, yeah, let's gas up the jet and let's go to Mexico. Let's go to Europe. Let's go to Paris. Like, how sick would that be? Where you ultimately can just be able to sit on a couch and you're like, yo, what do we do? You know what? I want to see the Eiffel Tower, and be able to just call up your flight attendant or be able to call up your pilot and be able to be like, hey, we're doing this, and be able to go.
It's go time.
What does that look like? Then I start calculating these numbers because we talk about KPIs. We talk about numbers. I want to know how much this stuff costs. How much does a private pilot cost? How much does a private plane cost? Are you renting it? Are you leasing it with some people? Is there like an Airbnb? Is there like an Uber, which I know there is, kind of like flights? And I realize, and up in the comments, this economy, it's tough right now. I want to give a shout out and want to share my heart with everyone that has lost their jobs during this difficult time. And I have been personally reaching out to many. And please, anyone that is listening that has been affected by some of the layoffs, sincerely from my heart. And some people just say this to look good on LinkedIn or, hey, I want to help you. But yesterday I had a talk with an individual by the name of Barbara, and her story, she wrote me such a long email and she told me her experience, and I broke down in tears knowing that like, hey, like you left a job to go to a job to find out you end up getting laid off, to be like, you know what? I'm going to go out of my way and I'm going to figure out how to place a job, because that's painful. I've been there. I've the blood, sweat, and tears, the tears on my desk, not knowing if I'm going to get out of bed in the morning due to the fact that how are we going to pay some bills? I understand that. And I want to help anyone that is going through that pain. And I want to help. I want to make intros. So just quickly want to share that sentimental thing, that I'm here in our community. I got your back, real talk.
Thank you, David.
Can we double that of the B2B Power Hour? You guys need help. It is 2022. Nobody should be suffering in silence. If you need help, shoot a DM, get in the reach out. We're here to support you.
Yeah. I only can echo and resonate everything that's just said. My LinkedIn feed's been full of all of the layoff announcements, and ironically, a bunch of simultaneous hiring announcements. It's just it's such a weird moment where we're currently in. But David, I want to ask you something, and I see this kind of floating around in LinkedIn. How do you think about structuring your day for success? Are you like a time blocker? Do you and how detailed do you get? Because I know, so here's the thing. Sometimes I've seen advice. I've had people give me this advice that says, you want to block out 15-minute increments. You want to get really detailed. You want every minute of your day scheduled. And then there are other people who say, well, maybe not. Maybe do like an hour at a time or an hour and a half and sort of lump things together into those time blocks. So how do you structure your day for success?
Totally. Great question. And we got to simplify things. All this could be stressful, right? 15 minutes blocks, 30, is it an hour? Is it this? Is it that? Scratch all of it. Scratch all of it. And I'm going to tell you these tips. And if you have a pen and paper handy, get it. And I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Just kidding. But get your pen and paper. this stuff that I'm going to tell you has allowed me to, and this isn't about me, but this has allowed me to get promotion after promotion after promotion, after jump to a next. Like, I've continued to level up due to the fact that I have this system that works. And I'm going to share it today. So the folks that are on, you're in for a treat. The other people, well, I don't know. They might be out of luck.
You can tag them in the comments if you want. Be like, hey, come on.
It's getting hot right now.
I'm dropping some serious knowledge. But I mean, it's out there. Like, all these methodologies, it's not brand new. So some people might be like, hey, like, I've heard of that. But most of the people that I ended up having conversations with don't really know this. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Like, let's go through what that looks like. So first off, let me ask the both of you, since we're on here live, I can see comments. And Michael, huge shout out. Like, I completely agree with you. I mean, not here to talk about religion or anything along those lines, but I'm with you, right? What wakes you up in the morning is really just being able, like, the fear of like meeting God himself, right? And being able to, if the things that he says that you weren't able to accomplish, like, that's pretty scary. Like, I want to be able to continue to, do the things that, like, where when my time is called, that I have a really good one-on-one. Like, we have one-on-ones with our manager, with whoever your higher power is, have a one-on-one with them, right? That would be a scary, scary thing if we got a one-on-one with someone that was in the red, right? And that's a scary monster. Once again, not going down that too into depth there, but I see you, Michael. Much love, and yeah, blessings to you, brother. So, but yeah, here are the things. Here are the things we're going to talk about. And I'm going to go back to my initial point is, have you heard of bagels? Do you have your bagels in the morning?
I've heard the term, but it's not part of my routine.
Perfect. Well, now it's going to be, because every single day, this is something that, instead of the time blocking, which you're going to do, but this is the formality of how you're going to do your time blocking. Okay. So bagels, behaviors, affirmations, goals, evaluations, lessons, and successes. Right?
Damn.
Within our KPIs, we have activities, right? We have calls, we have emails, we have connects, talk time, social connections, right? So that's like one bucket. We have objectives, right? We have our meetings scheduled. meetings held, qualified ops, right? Moving from stage 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, or however the company is setting it up. Tier 1 accounts, tier 2, tier 3 within your ICP, whatever the case is, right? Then you have the results, right? Which are pipeline generated. So those are the 3 buckets. So your activities, your objectives, your results. And once you kind of have an understanding of your KPIs, go back to bagels. And what do I mean by that? Behaviors. Write down specific activities or actions that you wish to complete. And that goes to your KPIs, what I just spoke about with your activities. How many calls do you want to make? How many emails? How many people are you going to put through a cadence compared to one-to-one within your template, right? Like, there's a time and a place to be able to throw out the net and put people in a sequence. Maybe not your tier 1s, maybe not your VPs, more than likely never, ever your CEOs. You want to be able to do persona-based messaging. I get it. Like, we can't write 100 emails a day that are not like one-to-one personalization where we're typing out and make our calls and all the other stuff. So to create those efficiencies, I get sequences are needed. But the sequences should be used as a net. So as soon as sequences end up going out and people are opening it up, make sure you grab those folks and put them into a spreadsheet or however you end up doing that. You could grab that within Salesforce, depending on the company, right? Like if you're not as tech, if you don't have an awesome tech stack, or like you don't have a Salesforce admin that can help you with that, straight up just manually put their name in, because that way you can then write those one-to-one messages knowing that's a great email. It didn't bounce, like someone keeps opening them up. But that's a behavior piece. So I won't go too into the weeds with KPIs, but excuse me. Then your affirmations, right? After you identify the way that like you want to act, the things that you want to do, which we just talked about within the behaviors, consider what beliefs you adopt to really exceed expectations and to really complete those actions. Like, so if you're a beast on the phone, go in front of go in front of your own mirror and be like, I got this, let's go. Like, legitimately, like, pump yourself up in a way that's like kind of weird, where it might scare your spouse, your significant other, whatever the case is. Smash this on your head. I mean, ask Joe, my last boss. I dare anyone to end up reaching out to Joe Ventui over at Upkeep and just straight up ask him. I think whoever's on this, let's just flood his inbox. I swear, please do it. Him and I are close friends, so it's cool. Like, he'll love it. Ask him if I smashed a Red Bull on my head to get the attention of the other SDRs on the floor. And from there, once we got the attention, we rolled out some type of a like contest, right? So just ask him that question. I mean, is that fair? Who's in on that? Press 1 if you're in.
Yeah.
For real talk.
Add those +1s in chat.
No,
Make it happen.
It's okay.
There's a little delay, David. Sometimes it'll cycle in through.
Seconds to 10 seconds.
So connect with him, write in the comments, connect like, hey, is it true David Dember smashed it? Anyway, so they can be simple or complex, really depending on, what the motivating factor is. But really, I tell myself in the mirror that I'm going to stay on the phone. I'm going to stay in the pocket 3 seconds longer. If someone pushes you off the phone, try to ask another question, or be able to ask a question to be like, interesting, like, tell me more, like, hey, we're not in the market. Or if somebody ends up trying to push you off the phone, being like, hey, no, totally fine. That's okay. The reason for my call is, simply that we've had a few changes here from the last time you looked at us, right? So like, if you're going through your dead ops, you can be able to like create conversations that way and be able to at least be able to say, hey, you know what? I know you're busy. I'm actually busy as well. I was looking at your calendar, possibly sometime next week on a Tuesday or Thursday. What's better for you, 10 or 1? Right? Like, being that assertive, give your confidence. So I really talk to myself with the affirmations piece. And then I roll into evaluations. Look at your actions from the day before. And if you set this stuff up, your one-on-ones with your manager are going to be so money, because you already put an action plan with them instead of just sitting on your one-on-one where they're telling you what you need to work on. You're your own manager. Hold yourself accountable with bagels every single day and tell your boss this. And then they're going to be like, whoa, this is nuts. Like, you came more prepared than I did. And let's work off your bagels to help you improve. or for some of the folks that are on, or you can use Jenny.ai. That's something, just a little plug for Second Nature. That is a pretty cool tool. If you haven't seen Second Nature, that's next level. Then lessons, right? Examine like your processes. Always be testing. Lavender's always says that. The Will always says that. Always be testing, and it's so crucial. Find the things that are like really important, right? Like, all right, this email didn't work. This person's opened it up. Like, get weird, get different. Subject lines matter, but throw some emojis in there. Like, really, that 5th grade like writing level that has allowed me to stand out. If your email or your outreach looks like paragraph, space, those get deleted. Stop that. Stop. Like, space, emojis, etc. So I'll pause for a second. I know that's a lot. And so, like, I know that I can go down more, but I just want, for the sake of time, I don't want to steal the entire show here, if you feel me.
Nah, man, great acronym.
So
I thought we were going to talk cream cheese for a moment, and I was like, I'd be down for that, but I think there's some deeper meaning here.
I was actually thinking of taking it back to coffee.
Oh, coffee, indeed.
So
okay.
With your bagels, when we talk about prioritization, the bad seller is the one that's hungry. They're the ones that have nothing in the pipeline. Mm-hmm. So if you're sitting there with your bagels and you have your coffee, if your coffee's not almost full, you're not going to be the best seller you can be. But what you want to do as you're prioritizing your activities for the day is you always want to be topping up your coffee. And the key is for it to overflow a little bit. And the reason why you want it to overflow a little bit is sometimes people aren't a perfect fit, or the pain fades, or there's something else going on that doesn't allow you to prioritize your time with the best contacts. The best sellers have bagels and a full coffee.
Well, Nick pokes fun at me on some of the live shows. I'm a marketer by trade, so ooh, God, I'm one of those guys.
I didn't know.
But when I started working for myself, I had to learn how to sell, basically. And consultative sales and being somebody who works for himself is a lot different than SaaS sales and the audience here today. But Nick, what you just said is so dead on, because whether you're a seller in a SaaS company or you're working for yourself, the same lesson is true. If all your eggs are in one basket, it is a risky situation. If you have your coffee half full and there's no coffee pot that's brewing more coffee, or there's no activities that are helping generate more stuff out there, that coffee may dry up really quick. It may, somebody says yes, 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 and then they say no. And then what are you going to do, right? And it's so important. I love, David, what you're pointing to, where you're mapping the activities and your objectives and your priorities for the day to the more personal ways that you're living and you're showing up, your behaviors, right, your affirmations. Like, these things are not like, this is what other people see, but this is actually what you're doing. Like, bagels are the things you yourself are paying attention to. And that's, to me, really powerful. Can change a lot of people.
No, for sure. And it changed my life. It really did. And you have to stay committed to it. You have to really just have on your desk your bagels every morning. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, but think about it. If you're shooting your shots, like, let's say ultimately you go to a firing range and someone blindfolds you, and you're just shooting. You don't know where your target is. You're just firing, just shooting. I mean, maybe I shouldn't go in that direction, just because everything that's going on in the world today. But if you're throwing darts, mm-hmm, and you're blindfolded and you're spinning around in circles, how do you know where the target is?
Just hit blue, David. But everything's blue.
Hold on, blue.
Hit blue. You just got to hit blue.
Right? Like, I feel like dance mode. Like, I don't know. Like, what are we doing here? So, mm-hmm, I mean, staying focused within your KPIs, understanding, tapping into your emotional intelligence of, like, asking your manager. Like, anytime I end up speaking to anyone, like, I go in, anytime I've gone to a new job, one of the things I ask my boss right away, what are your pet peeves? What are your pet peeves? Like, I want to get inside my manager's head. I want to understand, like, okay, like what gets you excited? What pumps you up? Because then if I'm hitting certain metrics or I'm doing this, or I'm able to show them that, hey, like, remember this tactic that you ended up showing me? It has created this. Then you're building a relationship and bond with your manager. And that is going to help you have your champion, meaning when it's time for promotion or you're crushing your numbers, you can have that real-time conversation, real-time conversation with them where they're going to help you get to that next level for real though. So using emotional intelligence is also very, very important. One of the things I lean on when thinking about sales development, my activities, understanding somebody's why is huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and most sales, we always think of selling outside.
Yeah.
It was honestly one of my biggest failures going through my career is I had a chip on my shoulder, and I'm like, if you don't realize what I'm doing when I leave the office every day, that's your problem, not mine, because the deals are rolling in. And then it hit me after. I'm like, well, if you can't see what I'm doing, if you don't know how I'm getting here, then I'm running blind, and it puts you in a bad spot. So how are you supposed to go and advocate for me when you don't even know where I am?
Yeah. 100%. And that's what it's about, is understanding your team, understanding their KPIs. Like I always try to understand the organization as a whole, because if you can do that and you can make an extra effort to help somebody else out, knowing that, hey, they're buried, you know what? I'm going to try to help them. I'm going to try to find a way. It's like, hey, let's ride or die together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk through the fire with you. And then they're going to teach you, if you end up working with marketing a little bit, and that's how I've started to get some marketing, like they're going to teach you some of the things, what their KPIs, how do they get bonuses? How do they right? And then now you're able to understand your KPIs, their KPIs, your boss's KPIs. How do they get that bonus? Because if they're so close to hitting their goal and then you're able to really just help them out, then it's like, yo, I see you. I see you. AKA, let's get who want to get paid, Denzel Washington mode. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Jerry Maguire out of the 90s. Show me the money, man.
Show me the money, baby. Show me the money.
Actually,
yeah.
This brings up something interesting. I always use the term leverage, but low effort, high output. Sort of, mm-hmm. You put a little bit of effort here and you get outsized results. So in your life or in your day to day, what are a few things that you see are really high leverage activities on the day to day, like where you put in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and you get crazy results, either personally or in sales and activities? It doesn't have to be just, pipeline related, but like when you think about leverage, what are the things you pay attention to?
I pay attention to a lot, and that has to deal with my own personal stuff where, anytime I go to a restaurant, anything, like I always know where my exit is in case something bad were to happen. I know where the bathroom is. I know if someone were to walk in the front door with something to, hold the right, just like we were talking about, not to go down that path, but being very observant. Sometimes some people will be like, dude, you're very outgoing. But other times when people will see me, I can be also very mellow because I am introverted at times, believe it or not. I'm pretty introverted. I have to recharge. I like my alone time and sit in my thoughts and really just kind of do the Zen. Phil Jackson, for people that are sports fans, just kind of go Zen, meditate, trying to think about my life, the things that I've overcome, the obstacles I've overcome, but helping others. I think if the output there, the amount of people that I've been able to just with no expectations, go out and try to help somebody, no strings attached. Because later on, the funny part about that is you help someone, they remember those things, and you never know where life leads. And if you're that person one day where you're getting laid off, those people remember. Those people really remember, and don't use this as, okay, I'm going to help people, because if they end up moving up to become a VP or director, then they're going to remember me and they're going to help me. Don't look at it like that. But the more you help other people, if that's in sales, trying to, devote 30 minutes to helping someone, with outbound activity, trying to help them really work on their framework, or if it's just doing something nice, going to a gas station and, Just if somebody's doesn't have enough money to pay for something, like I always try to go out and be like, a kid didn't have enough money to pay for some candy. Like he was really wanting this candy. And I said, he's like, oh man, all right, I'll put it back. I'm like, no, bring the candy up here. I got you, man. He's like, really? I like his eyes look like I was like superhuman, like super beast, like the coolest person in the world, celebrity mode, just for something small, or pay for someone's dinner. Like I look for a family and I can tell from a distance that they're saying that it's the nicest restaurant they've ever been to, and it might just be an okay restaurant, but they're really grateful to be together. I'll pull the waitress aside and say, you know what? Let's take care of the tab. Don't tell them who. I don't want to. I'm not here to take credit. Just pay for it, right? So it's always finding those opportunities, keeping your eyes open, and not walking past things and being like, not my problem.
I think it's even reminding yourself, like, I do a gratitude journal, kind of going back to your bagels. So as you're talking through, I'm like, actually, I guess my morning routine's kind of close. But I think one of the things in sales that we lose is why we're doing it. When you're chasing something that you don't want, it's easy to go and get distracted. But like what you're talking about, the first thing that comes to my mind is, what is the bigger reason why I'm doing this? Do I want to buy a house? Do I want to support my family? Do I want to be able to do certain things in my 5 to 9? Do I want to have a 5 to 9 outside of work? But so many people don't plan for this, and then they wonder why they burn out. I did. I wore it as a badge of honor until it just about killed me. And I never even thought of like having a closing down routine at the end of the day, or working for something other than just money or bragging rights, until, you have that reset moment. You're like, okay, like, so ask yourself, like, what are your bigger goals? And please don't make all of your goals based on minimums. This is the minimum activities hit quota. Make it at least 50% higher. Because that way, if you're 80% to your goal, you're still good.
I love that. I love that. And it's once again backing into those numbers, right? And I think with having a strong why, and sometimes people ask, like, what does that really mean? Like, yeah, like my why, it's like I go to work to pay for the bills, maybe have a little bit left over to do X, Y, and Z. No, like, and this might be a little dark, but I want to share like really how I rev my engine of being like,
let's do it.
How do you light this fire under your ass? Like, how do you go beast mode? Like, what's that about? And people think like, hey, it's kind of like, they'll see on my profile, they'll be like, hashtag beast mode. Like what? Like, okay, dude, like Marshawn Lynch, like, are you okay, poster? Like, so from somebody that doesn't know me, from them, an outsider looking in, they're like, whatever, man. Like, okay, beast mode. But for those people that don't know, they're about to learn today, Kevin Hart mode. Like, for me, I go back in time and I go through all my painful moments. For those that are listening that ended up losing their job recently or struggling in their job, good. Like Jocko, like, right? When he says good, like, hey, you didn't get your promotion? Good. More time to get better. Right? Like, find the painful moments where you lost your job, you don't know how to pay your bills. And for me, in my life, I lost my brother at a young age. He was 18 years old, or I was 18 years old. He was 20. We were 16 months apart in age. Best friend. We were pretty much like twins. Think about it, 16 months apart. He dove in a swimming pool, broke his neck, and drowned. He was my only sibling. Then after that, my parents got divorced. After that, my dad went down a pretty bad path with drugs, and same with my mom. And I could have chosen, like, my whole life exploded. Like, legitimately. Like, we had a family of 4, very close, but also not close at the same time. And it exploded right in front of me. So and I remember those moments of being like, oh my gosh, am I really looking inside a casket, looking at my brother just laying in a casket with makeup on that didn't really look at him in a private viewing, and I'm about to put him underneath the ground. Like that's pretty fucked up.
Mhm.
And I use that, and I say this because it's like, all right, I'm the last Dember, like to keep it going, like to keep things going. Like I have a chip on my shoulder. I want to make my brother proud. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my dad. The amount of time that I saw like my dad being lazy and sitting on the couch and not having a job, and like I didn't have anyone to show me the ropes. My mom, the one thing I can say about my mom, and I don't have a close relationship with her, is that she grinded hard. You know, being in the Greek culture, my papu and yaya, my mom, like my mom's 100% Greek. All we knew was working hard. A minus were not acceptable. You're an A minus, okay? A minus, go. No, you're an F play. You're an F. Like you suck, like straight up. So I was beat down pretty big, and in school because I wasn't getting those grades. I was the stepchild in the family, right? And one of the most hurtful things to hear from your own mother is saying, you know what? I wish it was you that died instead of your brother. And when your own mother says that to you,
Mhm.
it hurts. The person that brought you into this world. And times that I brought it up to her, she's like, oh, I never, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But the reason I bring this up is I channel all these things, all this pain that I've gone through. Kids making fun of me, you're such a fuck up that your own dad left you. Because my dad was in and out of my life. And I write this stuff down, and I write these painful messages of this person let me go. This boss told me I was never going to amount to something. This person ended up saying, and the best reward and the best thing you can do is prove everyone wrong. Prove every fucking person wrong. And if you don't know what that is, like go deep and try to find a painful moment, because I can promise you, if you do that, that will light your own fire under your ass, create your why, and you will go beast mode, because there's no other option in life. It's beast mode or die, in my mind, at least.
And either you find it yourself or somebody gives it to you. And if somebody gave it to you before, there's your challenge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I know I know that's deep. I know it's probably different.
Deep is welcome, man. Deep is always welcome here.
It's because it is real. It's
Mhm.
sometimes it's easy to sleep in your bed. It's easy to watch maybe Dr. Phil during the day or a soap opera. I don't know if Judge Judy's still a thing, but it's easy to just throw up your feet. What's not easy is doing the activities that are going to get you to your next goal. Because my biggest fear is my son coming to me and saying, hey, Dad, can I do this camp? Like all my friends are doing it. Can I do it? And I'm looking in my checking. Sorry, son. We can't afford that. That's my biggest fear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that. I
Mhm.
don't want that. If my wife is wanting to go to a really cool place, I want to be able to be like, yeah, we're going spa mode. We're doing manicures, pedicures. We're doing massages. We're doing the full 9 yards. Shoot, we'll hire someone to feed us grapes. Right? Like for reals. Well, facts. That we've done that. It's fun. Right. and so these things to me, as I back into what all this potentially costs, I go on the internet and Google my dream vacations, and I'm like, okay, this costs this. How can I look at my OTE and try to save to do this? How can I 2 or 3x? How can I jump to my next promotion? It's all of these things. It's bucketed into all those painful moments. So find your pain. That's the best thing. Eminem says it best. He thanks his haters all the time because he said he would not be Eminem today if he didn't do that. Listen to his rap. It's all about the haters. The haters got him to where he is today. I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that you're taking an attribute. And most people stop there. That's a New Year's resolution, is an attribute, but on the positive side. You're taking a negative attribute, flipping it to a positive, and looking at what the investment is to get there.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Anything in life can work this way. This is what your note should be in the morning. If you're starting a day without a goal, where are you going to go? It's so easy to cruise through life. It's so easy to go and stay where your parents are and never go above because why? But I think this is where you got to find that hunger for something bigger. You got to find those attributes. You got to go and get metrics that make it quantifiable and give yourself the baby steps that you can do every single day to see progress and
Yeah.
reward yourself. Because David, like, you've come in incredible strides, but I bet you don't wait till the very end to reward yourself or to say thank you or give gratitude for who's the people that were there for you, to yourself for doing the work, and the people around you that like supported you all through it. You don't just wait. I imagine you do that all the time.
Mhm.
All the time. All the time. The people in my corner that have been there for me all the time. Like, I don't forget those people. And when I tell people in private DMs, and Nick, I've told you many times, when I say these, like, I'm here for you, those aren't words. People like you hear people say, "Hey, I'm here for you, bro," and it's like, yeah, like,
Sure.
okay,
Convenient.
Yeah.
it's
Thanks.
it's almost like it's like almost a lavender type of thing. It can just it could populate.
Mhm.
Like, when I say these things, like, I really sincerely from my heart, I mean it. Like, if you're here and you're a ride and die, like, not to speak third person, but if you're a David Dember fan and you're in my circle, in my Greek culture, the way I was raised, you're in it for life. And like, anytime, like, I'll meet a woman for the first time and they think it's weird, like, if a friend introduced me, and sometimes I might give someone a kiss on the side of the cheek, that's the
Mm.
Greek culture. And it's some people could take that the wrong way, but it's like, hey, like, I kiss my wife's dad on the side of the cheek when I see him. I give him a hug and give him a kiss on the cheek.
Mhm.
That's a respect thing. So it's like, I'm always just looking, there's no angles, just be a good person, help other people, and just know that, like, being part of a community is bigger than yourself.
Mm.
That we're all going through challenges. Like, imagine you have a conversation with someone and you find out that they ended up harming themselves, right?
Mm.
And just think, like, could you have been a better community leader and been like, talked it through? Like, they end up sending you a message, hey, can you chat? And you were busy. And then later you find out later, shit, could that conversation have changed the way that they thought about life? And so I live my life of always trying to make sure people know I really am here for them. Like, I would drop everything. If someone gave me a call, I promise you, like, if you need me, if you're in a dark moment, fucking call me. Call me. Because I've seen death firsthand. I've had a business partner that died. My brother died. A lot of friends, close friends. Like, that stuff has really been real to me. And I've seen it. And I just want to be a good person and help the people around me and help everyone. That's
Well,
all.
and what I don't want to miss here, which I feel so vividly, is that there's not a work David. There's not a mask you put on.
No.
You got your face for work, and then at 5 p.m. you peel off that mask, Mission Impossible style, and you're somebody else at 5 p.m. until 9 a.m. the next morning. Like, that never existed. Maybe we thought it existed, and maybe we spent a lot of time and energy to make sure that existed. But I think now, in the remote sales era, post COVID, people living their lives, like, those distinctions just don't matter as much, especially to me. I have always believed that people show up the same way in their entire life. So if you got something that's really bothering you at home, yeah, you might try and cover it up or mask it up when it comes to work because you don't want other people to, know, which is fine, or for it to interfere with the rest of your day. But the reality is, if you're dealing with a death, if you're dealing with grief, if you're dealing with any hardship in your life, that's fine. That's part of who you are. That's where you are in life. And you're going to carry that when you're making sales calls sometimes. You're going to carry that when in your day-to-day work. You're going to carry that in your personal life. And it's so, what you just said is so important to me, which is, it's not our sole responsibility for ourselves. Like Nick says, we don't have to suffer in silence. Like, we should be able to, and if you don't have it, welcome, hello, reach out to us three. Lean on other people in moments like that. And here's the best part. This is the thing I didn't understand when I was younger. It's not about just the shitty stuff. It's not just about the moments where things go wrong. It's also about the highs and the
Yeah.
high highs.
Hmm.
It's like, David, I just closed the biggest deal of my career. You know, Nick, I crushed my goals for today, right? Like it's this bond that we create with other people. And I think that transforms and has personally transformed my life from, oh, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do the work, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to go home and I have the rest of my life. It's now like, look, I got other people to talk to. I got a community out there to support. And that's true whether you're in a small company or a big company. That's true whether you're in a small town or a big town. I mean, we have all of the opportunities to create that for ourselves today. And that is, for me at least, the real safety net in my life when things get going rough is, for example, I can just message Nick and be like, today is not a good day, just so you know. And it's good just to share that. Like, there's no solution needed. There's no, it's just like, look, today's not great. Just want to let you know, I'm going to see how this goes, kind of thing.
It's so true. And, it's the things that you need to be able to be comfortable talking about, even not your not your secrets or not your things. Like, you really got to build like a trust with people, because sometimes, I wouldn't say in the influencer world, but it's like sometimes there's people that want to try to get ahead and they'll use whatever you say against you and be able to create some side gossip. In all seriousness, but you still just need to be careful at the same time, but be able to really find your close group of people and be able to share those. Just don't go around sharing it with everybody. That's another piece that I wanted to just throw in there.
Yeah, everybody talks about culture at companies, and they're like, I really want to find this great culture. I really want this great culture. Cool. What about the culture you surround yourself with? Who are your people? Who are there to support you? Who are there to celebrate with you? And we talk to these reps, me and Morgan, and I'm sure you do too, David, every single week, that they're like, yeah, my friend, and, he did this, and they're not really there to support me. Why would you keep them in your pipeline if they were a sales lead? Surround yourself with the right people that have the right energy, that they challenge you, but in a healthy way. They push you to be better. They're there to support you when you're down. They're there to give you guidance. What top performer do you know that's a solo act? Really a genuine solo act? Nowadays, very few.
Very few.
Sales is a team sport, and the higher you get up into a team sport, what professional team is based on one player? I know the Calgary Flames tried it for years and got nowhere. So you just want to be the laughing stock. Like,
I love that. That's a good one.
That's funny, man. No. It just doesn't work. Yeah.
It doesn't work. There's no I in team. And like, even when, I work with my team, I work on CC plays. Like, as a manager, like, trying to be like, tell my team that, like, hey, of your book of business, of your top 10 accounts you're breaking into, like, CC me on those messages so I can come up on top and be able to create some additional value, or be able to build a relationship with them as well, and be able to go through my network on LinkedIn, see who I'm connected with, and maybe plug their name. The chances of a set meeting by the manager taking that extra effort by doing a CC plays is straight gold. And I think that's forgotten sometime. Nick, I don't know if you do that or not, but overall, like, managers, when I end up bringing that up, they're like, wait, you take time? Like, let's say you have 10 reps. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I do spend that extra time, because that's food on my table for those set meetings that move to pipeline. Like, if I have 50 emails I need to write, obviously I'm going to be short, concise, to the point. Maybe can build a template that is going to help save time to get to those emails with a little bit of personalization. Boom, I'm going to do it. But like, I'm going to show my team, I'm going to go in the weeds with them. I'm going to die trying with them. And if we're in the hood together and some shit goes wrong, all right, we're going to end up in the hospital together. Like, that's ride or die,
Crushing Red Bull cans on your head, getting too hardcore, Oh gosh, here we go. For all our future audio listeners, he just crushed his Monster can on his head.
Yeah, just that. I don't know. That was weird. I didn't actually do that, so that was really strange. What the hell was that? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Mike Jones?
No. Nick, did you? I saw you open your mouth.
I have a couple reps now, and it's kind of talking about what we said, like, find your people.
Yeah.
that they BCC me on emails, and all they'll write is boom, or they'll send me a screenshot just so that we can have those celebrations.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I also respect the fact too that they'll also screenshot a response and go, "The fuck."
Yeah.
How do I what?
It's like, yeah, like that's a strange response. Okay, let's figure that out together, because I think the one thing I really struggle with sales is everybody thinks it's a science, that it's principle driven, that there's just one right answer. Oh no, that David, that sales advice that you put out there, that's wrong because I do it differently and I get results. Sales is situational.
Correct.
The only way you get better is by seeing more situations. Just like a grand chess master. They know, they've got that pattern recognition. They've seen enough times what's about to happen, so they know what to do or have a general idea. But think about this. Think about when you're having different situations as an individual, how many do you actually see in a year? Well, now your team is 5 or your team is 20 and you're sharing all these oddball experiences. How much faster as a team are you going to learn? How much better is your prospecting going to get with each touch point when you are sharing the wins and those pieces that allow you to prioritize the best of the best? Not what was great 20 years ago, like, oh, back in my day when I used to sell, this is what worked. Cool. That was, pre 2014. That stuff doesn't work anymore. That's why it's not getting results. But when we're using this like situational and sharing, this is where the team sport comes in. And even freaking Lavender does this. Everybody always talks like, well, like I get like these coaches. Yeah, but it learns from you and it shares it amongst your group.
Yeah, true. True. So true.
I don't want to lose something that you were talking about earlier, David, which is sort of reverse. I mean, engineering, I always stay away reverse engineering your life. I feel like it's almost too scientific and we create like way too many expectations for ourselves. But you're taking your end state and you're bringing it back to today and you're saying, what do I need today to get there? So what I wanted to spend just a little bit of time as we get closer to the end of the session is talk about how do you, I mean, obviously, if we could have the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, everything is possible. So we could do whatever we want. So how do you think about prioritizing those goals even or sequencing those goals in sales lingo? But like, how are you, David, taking that end state, that end vision, and then translating it back to today, this week, this month, this year? I know you talked about vision boards. So that's great for every year. Are you doing stuff on a quarterly basis or on a more frequent basis? Like, break down some of that for me. I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, to kind of like, yeah, it's all backing into everything. Like, I'm a big numbers guy. You can see me in Vegas. I do count cards, just don't tell any of the casinos, right? +1, 0, -1. Like, there's a math to it. And so,
We'll cut that out.
yeah, no. But I mean, I really look to how many qualified meetings, like, because for SDRs out there, like, if you're looking to back into 12 qualified meetings, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I make 70 calls a day, which basically goes to, okay, multiply that by 5, and then you multiply that by 4, which would make it into the month. But that's going to result in, let's say, 2 meaningful or 2.5 or something meaningful conversations a day, right? And you end up being able to, from those 12 meaningful conversations, you get 3 meetings from that, right? So then you end up setting up your 70 hyper-personalized emails, let's say a week, which is 14 a day. And let's call it a conversion rate of like 1.1%. That roughly is about 3 meetings a month. Mm-hmm. And then 12 meetings, let's call it, by calls, like, right, plus the 3 meetings by the emails, comes out to be about 15 meetings that is set. Now we have to think about the fallout, right? 20% fallout, which then backs you into your number of 12 qualified meetings per month. So it's like really staying close. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I like to have this formula to keep me on track, but I also like to beta test and try different things. I'm like, okay, if I can't get in those calls, because today, cell phones, as you know, it ends up going, it'll show a spam call. It'll show like some cell phones don't even ring just due to the fact that the security, like some of the iPhones are just straight blocking those calls. It goes right to voicemail. And you can't control that fact. So yes, you can make your dials. If someone picks up, great. If not, don't be discouraged. Try other avenues, multi-channel, right? Leaving a voicemail. Then after that, being able to like send out an email. And from that email, maybe you don't have an ask. You're not asking for time, but being like, hey, with you being the vice president of marketing, you know, knowing that X, Y, and Z, like the things that you're focusing on, I thought you would find some value from this one pager. I hope you're having an awesome day in Charlotte. Hopefully you stay nice and dry. Hear the rain's coming down hard this week. Be well, David. You're not asking, right? You're not asking for anything, but you are going to follow up with them later on, and they will remember like, wow, they didn't ask for anything. They wanted to create some value, right? So it's like always trying things. Know that you have to back into the number of what people have seen, and it's the manager's job to really see like, what does that formula look like? I always got my top performer that is really good at writing messaging and crushes it on email or social. And I got my lower performer, and I made a contest where I'm like, all right, top performer, low performer, put them in a room to create some awesome personal, like one-to-one persona-based messages and sequences, right? For either some campaign that we are about to launch or one-to-one messaging to see what would happen, and help to bring that lower person up, and that'll help them. It's like, imagine you're getting like, let's bracket it for the sports fans out there. The 1 seed plays the 8 seed, the 2 seed plays the 7 seed, the 3 seed plays the 6 seed. Let's help each other out. And let's, like, for the person that's really good at cold calls, find the other person that's not getting much luck and get them in a room. Like, do a buddy system game, or managers find some budget and try to move that budget on over for doing some contests together. And that will power up your team or level up your team. It's like, that's so very important. Sorry, I rambled on there, but there's a lot there.
Nah, man.
It's really good. And I think the one thing that going through this that I hear a lot is when people talk about or reps tell me like, how do you prioritize your day? They're like, deals to keep momentum. Fair. Cold outreach. Cool. What about warm? But nobody ever has a warm bucket. Who would you rather call first thing in the morning? Right? Who would you rather call? Would you rather call the person that is telling you to F off, or like, why are you calling me? Or would you rather have the warm up? Because I don't know, David, when you were first starting, did you have a buddy that you called like your first call just to go and like get out some of the kinks of your pitch? Because every morning it's always rough. And then you go and you just start your dials, right?
Mm-hmm. You gotta get your voice going in the morning. You have that coffee voice. I always had a buddy and a close friend that was in sales that we would chat every single morning, and we would just talk about nonsense for like 10 minutes. It would get my vocals going, and I would say, during this time that we talk, let's talk about something we're both passionate about. And for us, it would be sports. So we would debate about things. So I started having a conversation, a debate, like almost like Stephen A. Smith, for once again, sorry to keep dropping sports. You see all these guys in a room and they're debating. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, you're training your voice on all different avenues. And that is so very key to be able to have that conversation with a close friend to get your vocals working for the day.
Couldn't agree more. We used to do a yes and go back and forth, but I noticed that we're coming up on time.
Yes.
So Morgan, do you want to close us out, or David, is there anything that you would like to add in quick before we close out?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and everyone that ended up showing up today. Just want to show my gratitude. I know you took an hour to come here today, but rather than that, I'm going to let Morgan close us off. So thank you, everyone.
Oh, well, thank you, David, for joining us. We do live shows like this all the time. I feel like today, not only did I learn a lot, not only did I figure out bagels had nothing to do with cream cheese, but also I feel like we actually got to some heart stuff today. And I feel that is crucial in a world where we are showing up as people and not just work robots. You know, we're all people, we're all humans. And I feel like I'm grateful and thankful that you shared your story with everyone here, and that we all got to connect a little bit more today. So my last ask, David, if people are new around here or they're listening to this episode later, where can they find you, and what should they know about what you're doing in the world?
Yeah. Well, you can find me on LinkedIn, David Dember, Dember. It's kind of like December. Drop the EC, slide the V to the right. That's Dember, but also you can know as David Daniel Dember, born in December, Deca the 10th. So that's a full little thing there. That's a fact.
Little
But
Dale Carnegie.
yeah, I know it's pretty weird. DDD, like born in D, and then my wife and I she's 48 hours apart. She was born December 8th, 86. I'm the 10th, 86. So,
Wow.
but yeah, to really close things out, I mean, we're launching and we have launched. Like, there's a few folks that are going to be part of the initial beta of 10 Bound Plus. So be on the lookout for this community that we've built. Our team is super excited about this. So please, please, please stay tuned. Follow us at 10 Bound. Follow us at, the Sales Development Podcast. We got some really cool stuff coming up, cool series coming up. So if you're interested, please just shoot me a DM if you want to learn more about 10 Bound Plus. But let me just tell you, it's going to be fire.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Well, thank you. Thanks everybody for showing up today. The reason we do these live shows is for all of you. We learned so much, and it's great to spend an hour with y'all today. So thank you, David, again, and happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Peace out, everyone.
Take care.